Ambassador Chen Wei stood in the center of the Great Hall. The Galactic Council Assembly was the largest room she had ever seen. The ceiling curved high above, showing stars through transparent metal. Beings from 300 different worlds filled the seats around her. Most of them were laughing. The Zorathian admiral stood up from his floating platform. He was 3 meters tall with purple skin that shimmered like oil. His forearms crossed over his chest as he looked down at Chen Wei. She looked very small standing there in her simple blue uniform. "Tell us again about this amazing ship," the admiral said. His voice sounded like thunder. "This one ship that humanity has been building for 50 years. More laughter filled the hall. The Klaxians made clicking sounds with their mandibles. It was how they showed amusement. The Vrex delegates slapped their tentacles against their seats. Even the peaceful Etherians, who looked like floating jellyfish made of light, pulsed in patterns that meant they found this funny. Chen Wei did not move. She had stood here before many times. Each year she came to give reports. Each year they laughed more. "The ship is almost ready," she said. Her voice was calm and clear. It carried through the hall despite all the noise. "Humanity asks for patience. Patience." The Zorathian admiral spread all 4 arms wide. "Your species has been part of this council for 70 years. In that time we have built 10,000 warships. The Klaxians have built even more. The Malari Commonwealth has 6,000. Even the smallest member races have hundreds of ships. And humanity?" He paused for effect. The hall grew quiet. "Humanity has 12 patrol boats, 40 mining vessels, some cargo ships that barely work, and one ship that nobody has seen. A ship that might not even exist." Chen Wei smiled slightly. "The ship exists. Then where is it?" This came from the Klaxian queen. Her voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Why does no one see it? Why do your own colonies ask us for protection because Earth cannot protect them?" The human ambassador took a deep breath. She had answered these questions before. She would answer them again. "We chose a different path," she said. "While others built many ships, we decided to build one perfect ship. One ship that would change everything." The laughter started again. It was louder this time. The Zorathian admiral raised one hand for silence. "Ambassador Chen, I like humans. You are amusing little creatures. You tell good stories. You make interesting food. Your music is pleasant. But you are not warriors. You are not builders of great ships. You are dreamers who think one ship can match our fleets." He turned to address the whole council. "I motion that humanity be removed from the Defense Coalition. They contribute nothing to our protection. They have no fleet. They have no weapons. They have only promises and dreams." Murmurs filled the hall. Some delegates nodded. Others looked uncomfortable. The Defense Coalition was important. It protected all member races from pirates and hostile species from beyond Council space. To be removed was a great shame. The Etherian ambassador floated forward. Their voice sounded like wind chimes. "This seems harsh, Admiral. Humans may be weak, but they have never caused trouble. They trade fairly. They share their knowledge freely. Knowledge of farming, perhaps," the Zorathian said. "Knowledge of art and cooking. But not knowledge of war. Not knowledge of shipbuilding. They are children playing with toys while adults do the real work." Chen Wei watched it all. She had expected this. Earth's leaders had warned her it would happen. The plan required it to happen. "If I may speak," she said. The council president, an ancient being that looked like a tree made of crystal, gestured for her to continue. "The admiral is right," Chen Wei said. This surprised everyone. The hall grew very quiet. "We have not shown you our ship. We have not proven ourselves. So I propose a deal." The Zorathian admiral leaned forward. He liked deals. "Go on," he said. "Give us one more solar cycle," Chen Wei said. "1 year as humans measure time. If our ship does not appear and prove itself by then, we will leave the coalition voluntarily. We will accept whatever status the council gives us. We will not protest or complain." "And if your ship does appear?" the admiral asked. He was smiling now, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Then you will acknowledge that one perfect ship can be worth more than 10,000 normal ones." The admiral laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "I will do better than that, little human. If your one ship can defeat even a single squadron of my fleet, I will personally apologize to your entire species. I will bow before your leaders on Earth." The hall exploded with noise. A Zorathian bowing to anyone was unheard of. They were the proudest race in the galaxy. They had the largest empire, the most worlds, the biggest fleet, but the Admiral continued, raising his voice over the noise. When your ship fails to appear, or when it proves to be the joke we all know it is, humanity will become a protectorate of the Zorathian Empire. You will mine asteroids for us. You will grow food for us. You will accept your place as servants. Chen Wei stood very still. This was more than Earth had expected. But she could see the trap. If she refused, humanity would look weak. If she accepted, the stakes were enormous. She thought about the messages from home. The secret reports. The things only a few humans knew. I accept, she said. The hall erupted again. Several ambassadors tried to speak at once. The Etherians pulsed rapidly, trying to warn her. Even some of the Zorathians looked surprised. The Admiral laughed again. You are brave, little human. Stupid, but brave. The Council will witness this agreement. 1 solar cycle from today, we will see this mysterious ship of yours, or we will welcome humanity as our newest servants. The vote was quick. Most species abstained, not wanting to anger either side. But the agreement was recorded. It became official. As Chen Wei walked from the hall, the Etherian ambassador floated beside her. That was foolish, they said softly. The Zorathians have never lost a battle. Their technology is centuries ahead of yours. Whatever ship you are building cannot possibly stand against them. Chen Wei smiled. We know. The Etherian pulsed in confusion. Then why agree? Because sometimes, Chen Wei said, the best way to win is to make your enemy think they have already won. She left the assembly and went to her small office in the human section of the station. It was tiny compared to other species' spaces. Humans didn't need much room. She activated the quantum communicator. It connected instantly to Earth despite the 1,000 light-years between them. It's done, she said. They took the bait. The voice on the other end belonged to General Morrison, head of Earth's Defense Council. Good. How long do we have? 1 year. More than enough. The Prometheus will be ready in 8 months. Chen Wei sat down at her desk. Outside her window, she could see Zorathian battleships patrolling. Each one was a kilometer long, bristling with weapons. They were magnificent. They were terrifying. They were obsolete. They just didn't know it yet. Should I warn our colonies? She asked. No, the general said. Let everyone think we are weak. Let them laugh. The Prometheus works best when no one expects it. Chen Wei ended the call and poured herself tea. It was green tea from Earth, one of the few things she missed about home. She thought about the Admiral's words. Dreamers, he had called humans. Children with toys. He was wrong about the children part, but he was right about one thing. Humans were dreamers, and sometimes dreams became nightmares for other people. She sipped her tea and watched the stars. Somewhere out there, hidden in the dark between Neptune and Pluto, the Prometheus was being built. One ship to change everything. The galaxy laughed at humanity's one ship. Soon they would stop laughing. The Oort cloud was the perfect hiding place. Billions of ice chunks floated in the darkness far from the sun. No one came here. No one looked here. It was empty and cold and perfect. Inside a hollowed-out comet the size of a city, humanity built its secret. Chief Engineer Raj Patel floated through the construction bay. In zero gravity, his white hair drifted around his head like a halo. He was 70 years old, but his eyes were sharp and bright. He had given his whole life to this project. Sarah, come look at this, he called out. Captain Sarah Reeves pushed off from a wall and floated over. She was younger, only 40, with short black hair and scars on her hands from years of work. She had been chosen from thousands of volunteers to command humanity's greatest secret. They floated before a wall of metal that seemed to shimmer. It looked solid, then liquid, then solid again. Sometimes it wasn't there at all. The quantum armor is working, Raj said. His voice was full of pride. It exists in 7 dimensions at once. When someone shoots at it, the armor might not be in this dimension at all. The shot passes through empty space. Sarah reached out to touch it. Her hand went through, then hit solid metal, then went through again. It's incredible, she said. But will it work in battle? We tested it yesterday. We fired a nuclear missile at a sample plate. The missile exploded in empty space. The plate was undamaged. It was in Dimension 4 at the moment of impact. They floated further into the ship. The Prometheus was not huge by galactic standards. It was only 600 meters long. Zorathian battleships were twice that size. But every meter of the Prometheus was impossible. They passed the engine room. Inside, Dr. Maria Santos was working on something that hurt to look at. It was a sphere that seemed to fold in on itself forever. The more you looked, the smaller it got, but it never disappeared. The Casimir drive is almost ready, she said without looking up. We can move space itself. The ship doesn't go fast. It makes the universe move around it instead. How fast? Sarah asked. Fast is the wrong word. We can be anywhere instantly. We fold space like paper. We bring 2 points together and step across. Distance means nothing. They continued their tour. In the weapons bay, Professor Jiang Wei was installing something that looked like a crystal tree. Its branches spread in directions that didn't exist. Temporal weapons, he explained. They fire backwards in time by 3 seconds. We shoot after the target is already hit. Cause and effect become confused. The universe doesn't like it, but the universe doesn't have a choice. Sarah shook her head. I've been training on these systems for 5 years and I still don't understand them. No one truly understands them, Raj said. We found the math by accident. A graduate student was trying to solve a different problem and discovered equations that shouldn't work, but they did. They showed us how to break physics. They floated to the bridge. It was small, designed for only 6 people. Most warships had bridges with hundreds of crew, but the Prometheus was different. Its computer did most of the work. The crew was there mainly to make decisions. How many people know about this? Sarah asked. On Earth? Maybe 50. The president, the defense council, some scientists. Everyone else thinks we're building a normal battleship. Even most of our colonists believe we've failed. And the crew? 200 volunteers. All geniuses. All sworn to secrecy. They gave up their lives, their families, everything. If this fails, they die unknown. If it succeeds, they become legends. Sarah nodded. She had given up everything, too. Her husband thought she was dead, killed in a mining accident. Her children thought the same. It was the hardest thing she had ever done, but it was necessary. The Prometheus could not exist if people knew about it. A young man floated into the bridge. Lieutenant James Chen, the ambassador's nephew. He was 25, brilliant and excited about everything. Captain, we have a problem, he said. Sarah's stomach dropped. They had 8 months left. They couldn't afford problems. What is it? Zorathian scouts. 3 of them. They're searching the Oort cloud. Why? We don't know. Maybe routine patrols? Maybe they're looking for pirates. Or maybe they suspect something. Sarah and Raj exchanged glances. How close? She asked. 40 million kilometers and closing. At their current speed, they'll be here in 6 days. Can we hide? The stealth fields are working, but if they get within 1 million kilometers, they'll detect the gravitational anomaly. A hollowed-out comet is hard to explain, Sarah thought quickly. They couldn't fight. The Prometheus wasn't ready. They couldn't run. Moving the comet would be noticed. They couldn't ask for help. No one could know they were here. We need a distraction, she said. Something to make them look elsewhere. Raj smiled. I have an idea. But it's risky. Everything we do is risky. What's your idea? We fake a pirate base, on the other side of the Oort cloud. Make it look active, dangerous. The Zorathians love hunting pirates. They'll investigate that instead of coming here. How do we fake a base? We have 3 mining ships here for construction. We can convert them quickly. Add some weapon signatures, some fake communication traffic. Send them out with skeleton crews. They run when the Zorathians arrive, leading them away from us. Sarah considered it. It was dangerous. If the Zorathians caught the mining ships, they would interrogate the crews. But the crews wouldn't know about the Prometheus. They would think they were really pirates hired for a secret job. Do it, she said. The next 3 days were tense. The fake pirate base was set up quickly. 30 volunteers agreed to crew the mining ships, thinking they were part of a training exercise. They didn't know the real purpose. The Zorathian scouts detected the fake base exactly as planned. They changed course immediately, sending messages back to their fleet about dangerous pirates in human space. The mining ships ran. The Zorathians chased. The Prometheus remained hidden. That was close, James said, watching the scanner data. It will get closer, Sarah replied. The nearer we get to completion, the more danger we face. Someone will eventually realize what we're doing. How can we fight the entire Zorathian fleet with 1 ship? James asked. Even with our technology, they have 10,000 ships. We don't fight 10,000, Sarah said. We fight 1. Then another. Then another. The Prometheus isn't built for fleet battles. It's built to be impossible to hit, impossible to escape, impossible to understand. We are not a battleship. We are a predator. Raj floated back into the bridge. His face was serious. I have good news and bad news, he said. Bad first, Sarah said. The Zorathians are increasing patrols, not just here but everywhere. They're planning something big. Intelligence suggests they want to absorb human colonies before the year is up. They're not going to wait for us to fail. They're going to make us fail. And the good news: the Prometheus will be ready in 6 months, not 8. We're ahead of schedule. Sarah looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, hundreds of alien races were laughing at humanity. They thought humans were weak, foolish, dreamers. They were about to learn that human dreams could be terrifying. Double the work shifts, she ordered. I want this ship ready in 4 months. If the Zorathians want to play games, we'll be ready to play back, Captain, James said quietly. What if we're wrong? What if one ship isn't enough? Sarah smiled. It was not a kind smile. Then we'll build a second one. But trust me, Lieutenant, one will be enough. The galaxy has never seen anything like what we're building. They think war is about numbers, firepower, armor. We're going to show them that war is about breaking the rules. She looked at the quantum armor, the impossible engines, the temporal weapons. God help them when they see what we've built, she said. Because nothing else will. Governor Elena Martinez stood on the balcony of her office looking out at the city of New Kyoto. The colony was beautiful. White buildings climbed the hillsides. Blue trees from Earth mixed with purple plants from this world. 20 million humans lived here, along with a few thousand alien traders and visitors. It was peaceful. It was prosperous. It was about to be destroyed. Governor, they're here, her assistant said from the doorway. Elena turned around. On the wall screen, she could see them. 300 Zorathian warships dropping out of hyperspace. They formed a perfect sphere around the planet. There was no escape. How long do we have? She asked. They're demanding immediate communication. Admiral Vex himself is leading them. Elena had heard of Vex. He was the Zorathian who had destroyed the Molari resistance. He had conquered 17 worlds. He never lost. Put him through, she said. The screen changed. Admiral Vex appeared, filling the entire wall. His purple skin gleamed. His forearms were spread in what Zorathians considered a greeting but looked like a threat. Governor Martinez, he said. His voice was deep and smooth. I bring greetings from the Zorathian Empire. We are here on a peacekeeping mission. Peacekeeping? Elena kept her voice steady. We are at peace. We have no conflicts here, why not yet. But our intelligence suggests pirates are operating from your system. Raiders who threaten legitimate trade. We are here to help you eliminate this threat. Elena almost laughed. There were no pirates here. Everyone knew that. This was an excuse, a lie to justify invasion. We appreciate your concern, she said. But we can handle any pirates ourselves. With what fleet? Vex smiled, showing his sharp teeth. You have 12 patrol boats. Old ones, weak ones. They could not stop a single pirate, much less protect your world. He was right. The patrol boats were 30 years old, bought secondhand from the Etherians. They barely worked. We have no need for warships, Elena said. We are a peaceful colony. Peace is a luxury you can no longer afford, Vex replied. The galaxy is dangerous. You need protection. The Zorathian Empire offers that protection. At what cost? A simple treaty. Your colony becomes a protectorate. You maintain local control, but we provide security. Our fleet base is here. Our traders get preferred status. Your mining output is shared with us. A fair arrangement. And if we refuse? Vex's smile grew wider. Then we must assume you are harboring pirates. We would have no choice but to search your world. Thoroughly. Such searches can be destructive. Cities might be damaged. People might be hurt. It would be unfortunate. Elena felt her hands clench into fists. This was extortion. Conquest disguised as protection. Her communicator buzzed. A message appeared on her personal screen, visible only to her. It was text only from an unknown source. Stall for 7 minutes. Prometheus, Elena's heart jumped. The Prometheus? The mythical ship everyone joked about? It couldn't be real. But what choice did she have? Admiral Vex, she said. Before I can consider your offer, I must follow proper procedures. The colonial charter requires me to read the full terms to all citizens, in all official languages. Vex tilted his huge head. That seems unnecessary. It is the law. Human law. You wouldn't want us to break our own laws, would you? That would make us untrustworthy partners. The Admiral laughed. You humans and your laws, very well. You may read your charter, but be quick. My patience is limited. Elena opened the colonial charter on her screen. It was 300 pages long. In 17 languages, she began reading. Slowly. Very slowly. Article 1, Section 1. The colony of New Kyoto, established in the year 2341 by Earth Colonial Initiative, pursuant to United Nations Resolution 2847, shall be governed according to the following principles. On the bridge of his flagship, Admiral Vex relaxed in his command chair. His officers looked confused. "Sir," one said, "why are we allowing this delay?" "Because it amuses me," Vex replied. "Let them have their little ritual. It changes nothing. In 1 hour this world will be ours. Let the humans comfort themselves with their laws and procedures. It will make their surrender sweeter." Elena continued reading. Her throat was getting dry, but she didn't stop. 4 minutes had passed. Article 7, Section 3. All colonists shall have the right to free expression, free assembly, and free trade, subject to local regulations as established by the duly elected Colonial Council. Some of Vex's officers were laughing now. The human governor looked so serious reading her meaningless words while 300 warships waited to destroy her. 5 minutes. Article 12, Section 9. In the event of external threat or natural disaster, the colonial government may declare a state of emergency, suspending normal procedures for a period not to exceed 30 solar days. 6 minutes. Vex yawned. He had 4 mouths, so it was an impressive sight. "Governor, this grows tiresome. Perhaps we should—" Space screamed. There was no other word for it. Reality twisted, folded, and tore. Where there had been empty space, suddenly there was a ship. But wrong. Everything about it was wrong. It was smaller than a Zorathian battleship, but it hurt to look at. Its hull shifted between states, solid and liquid and gas and something else. Its shape made no sense, with angles that couldn't exist. "What is that?" Vex shouted, jumping to his feet. His sensors were going insane. The ship registered as there and not there. It was 600 meters long and infinite. It was made of metal and energy and impossibility. On the human ship, the designation became clear. UES Prometheus. All ships, battle formation. Vex commanded. "Destroy that abomination." 300 warships turned their weapons on the single human vessel. Plasma cannons, laser arrays, missile tubes, kinetic rails, enough firepower to crack a moon. "Fire!" Vex screamed. The space around the Prometheus filled with death. Energy beams, missiles, projectiles, everything the Zorathian fleet could throw. It should have been instant annihilation. The Prometheus wasn't there, it hadn't moved. It simply wasn't where the weapons were aimed. The shots passed through empty space where the ship should have been. Then the impossible happened. The weapons fire curved, bent, turned around. The Zorathian fleet was hit by its own attack. Shields flared and died. Armor melted. Ships that had never been damaged in decades of combat were suddenly burning. "What is happening?" Vex demanded. "The space is wrong," his science officer said, his voice shaking. "The human ship is bending reality. Our weapons are hitting us because space itself is twisted. Forward has become backward. Impossible!" The Prometheus fired. Once. A single beam of light emerged from its hull. But it was wrong too. The beam split, fractured, multiplied. 1 became 2, 2 became 4, 4 became 16. The fractal pattern spread, each split carrying impossible energy. The beam hit a Zorathian destroyer. The ship didn't explode. It collapsed, compressed into a sphere the size of a marble. The mass was still there, but compressed beyond understanding. The fractured beam continued spreading. Every ship it touched collapsed the same way. In seconds, 50 ships were gone, reduced to marbles floating in space. "Retreat!" Vex screamed. "All ships retreat." But the Prometheus was everywhere and nowhere. Ships trying to enter hyperspace found it blocked. The human vessel had done something to space itself, making faster-than-light travel impossible. The Prometheus fired again. Another 50 ships collapsed. Vex's mighty fleet was being destroyed by a single ship that shouldn't exist. "Send the surrender signal," Vex said. His voice was quiet now. "Defeated, sir." His officer was shocked. "Zorathians never surrendered. Do it." The surrender signal went out. The Prometheus stopped firing. On New Kyoto, Elena Martinez had stopped reading the charter. She stood frozen, watching the tactical display. 2/3 of the Zorathian fleet was gone. The rest were scattered, broken, beaten. A message appeared on all screens from the Prometheus. Humanity built 1 ship. 1 was enough. New Kyoto is under our protection. Any hostile action against human colonies will be met with similar response. This is not a threat. It is a statement of fact. Admiral Vex appeared on Elena's screen again. His purple skin was pale now, almost gray. His forearms hung limp. "Governor," he said, "I apologize for the misunderstanding. We will withdraw immediately. New Kyoto is clearly well protected." The connection ended. The remaining Zorathian ships limped away, collecting the compressed marbles that had been their fleet. Scientists would study those marbles for years, never understanding how it was done. Elena's communicator buzzed again. This time it was voice, encrypted on channels she didn't know existed. "Governor Martinez, this is Captain Sarah Reeves of the Prometheus. Are you safe?" "Yes," Elena managed to say. "We're safe. How did you do that?" "We changed the rules," Sarah replied. "The galaxy thinks war is about strength. We made it about bending reality. They can't fight what they can't understand. Will you stay to protect us?" "We don't need to. The message is sent. No one will attack human colonies now. They'll be too afraid of what one ship can do." The Prometheus faded from sensors, disappearing as impossibly as it had arrived. Elena sat down hard in her chair. Her assistant brought her water with shaking hands. "Should we report this to Earth?" the assistant asked. "They already know," Elena said. "They've known all along." She looked at the tactical display. Where 300 warships had threatened her world, now there was only empty space and mysteries. Admiral Vex had never felt fear before. In his 90 years of life, through countless battles and conquests, he had always been the one others feared. Now floating in his damaged flagship among the remnants of his fleet, he understood what his victims had felt. The space around New Kyoto was a graveyard of impossibilities. The compressed marbles that had been 50 of his finest warships drifted in perfect formation, each one containing the entire mass of a destroyer crushed to the size of a child's toy. His scientists couldn't explain it. His engineers couldn't understand it. His tactical computers had simply given up trying. "Sir," his communications officer said, voice trembling, "High Command is demanding a report." Vex closed all 4 of his eyes. How could he explain that 300 warships had been defeated by one human vessel? How could he tell the Empire that everything they knew about warfare was obsolete? "Open the channel," he ordered. The hologram of Supreme Admiral Korthax appeared. He was ancient scarred and had never lost a battle in 200 years of service. "Vex," Korthax growled. "Explain yourself. The sensor data we're receiving makes no sense. Supreme Admiral, the humans have one ship. You were defeated by one ship?" "It wasn't a ship," Vex said quietly. "It was something else. Something that breaks physics." On the Prometheus, Captain Sarah Reeves watched the Zorathian fleet retreat. The bridge was quiet. Her crew of 6 was processing what they had just done. "Casualty report," she ordered. "0 Zorathian deaths," Lieutenant Chen reported. "The compression spheres are stable. The crews are alive inside in temporal stasis. They can be released if we choose." Sarah nodded. That had been the hardest part of the weapon design. How to win without killing, how to be terrifying without being monsters. "Captain," her sensors officer called out. "We have incoming." Lots of incoming. The tactical display lit up. Ships were arriving from every direction. Not just Zorathians, everyone. Klaxian hive ships looking like massive metal insects. Malari Commonwealth cruisers sleek and beautiful. Vrex bioships alive and pulsing. Etherian light vessels barely visible. Even species Sarah didn't recognize. "It's not an attack," the officer continued. "They're watching. They want to see us." Sarah understood. The galaxy had just witnessed the impossible. Every species with a ship nearby was coming to see the human vessel that had broken 300 Zorathian warships. "Sir, we're being hailed. Multiple frequencies. Everyone wants to talk to us." "Ignore them all except one," Sarah ordered. "Open a channel to the Galactic Council." The face of Ambassador Chen Wei appeared on the screen. She was trying not to smile. "Captain Reeves," the ambassador said formally, "the council requests your immediate presence at the assembly. They have questions. I'm sure they do. We'll be there in 1 hour." "1 hour? But you're 800 light years from the station." Sarah smiled. "Distance is relative, Ambassador. Expect us soon." She closed the channel and turned to her navigator. "Mr. Santos, prepare for transit. Let's show them how we travel." The navigator's hands danced over controls that shouldn't exist. The Casimir drive engaged and space began to fold. To the watching fleets it looked like the universe had gone insane. The Prometheus didn't accelerate. It didn't enter hyperspace. Instead, space itself compressed in front of it and expanded behind it. The ship stood still while the universe moved around it. Then it vanished. Not in a flash of light or a hyperspace window. It simply stopped being there. 800 light-years away at the Galactic Council Station, alarms started screaming. Something was happening to local space. Something impossible. The Prometheus appeared directly above the station, inside the defense perimeter, past all security, in a place no ship should be able to reach. The station's weapons powered up automatically, then powered down. What was the point? If the human ship could appear here, it could appear anywhere. Traditional defense was meaningless. In the council assembly, chaos reigned. Delegates who had been reviewing the battle footage were now screaming, arguing, demanding answers. Some were calling for immediate surrender to humanity. Others wanted to unite against this new threat. Still others claimed it had to be a trick, an illusion. The great doors of the assembly opened. Captain Sarah Reeves walked in alone, wearing a simple black uniform. No guards, no escort, no ceremony. Just one human walking into a room full of 300 alien species. The hall went silent. Sarah walked to the center, to the same spot where Ambassador Chen had been mocked just months before. She looked around at the assembled beings, many of whom had laughed at humanity's one ship. "You have questions," she said simply. The Zorathian admiral, not Vex but another, stood up. "What are you?" "I am human," Sarah replied. "My ship is human. We are what we have always been. The only difference is that now you can see it. Your weapons are impossible," the Klaxian queen clicked. "The compression spheres, the bent space, the temporal distortions, these things cannot exist." "And yet they do," Sarah said. "Your mistake was thinking that the universe follows your understanding of rules. We found different rules." The Etherian ambassador floated forward. "Will you share this technology?" "No." The simple answer caused an uproar. Dozens of voices spoke at once, demanding, pleading, threatening. Sarah raised one hand. Surprisingly, they all stopped. "We will not share it because you would use it to destroy each other," she said. "You have 10,000 warships each. Imagine if each one could do what the Prometheus can do. The galaxy would burn. Then you would rule us all," the Molari representative said. "One ship to control everyone." "We don't want to rule," Sarah replied. "We want to survive. For 70 years we've been the weak ones, the joke, the ones who needed protection. We built the Prometheus not to conquer, but to ensure we would never be conquered." "But you could destroy us all," someone shouted from the back. "Yes," Sarah said simply. "We could, but we won't. Humans are not conquerors. We are explorers, traders, artists, scientists. We built one ship because one ship is all we need for defense. We don't need a fleet to attack others. We need one ship to make sure others don't attack us." Supreme Admiral Korthak stood. He was connected by hologram from the Zorathian homeworld. "What if we refuse to accept this? What if we unite against you?" Sarah looked at him directly. "Then you will lose." "The Prometheus is not our only advantage. While you built bigger guns, we learned to think differently. While you perfected traditional warfare, we questioned what warfare meant. You have numbers. We have imagination. Besides," she continued, "why would you unite against us? We've threatened no one. We've conquered no worlds. We defended one colony from an unprovoked attack. The only ones who need to fear us are those who would attack us." The council president, the ancient crystal tree being, rustled its branches. "Captain Reeves, what does humanity want?" "Respect," Sarah said. "Simply respect. Treat us as equals, not as children or servants. Trade with us fairly. Leave our colonies in peace. That's all we've ever wanted. And if we do this, then the Prometheus remains what it is now. A defender, not an attacker. A shield, not a sword." She turned to address the entire assembly. "You laughed at us for building one ship. But consider this. We could have built 1,000 regular ships. We chose to build one impossible one. What else have we chosen to do that you don't know about? What other impossibilities have we made real?" The question hung in the air. Every species suddenly wondered what else humanity might have hidden. "The humans offer a simple proposition," Sarah concluded. "Peace and respect, or face the implications of what we've shown you today. Not a threat, just reality. The galaxy has changed. The question is whether you'll adapt to that change or fight it." She turned and walked toward the door. "Wait," the Zorathian admiral called out. "The compressed ships. Our people. Will you release them?" Sarah stopped but didn't turn around. "They're safe. Frozen in time inside the spheres. We'll release them when we're sure there will be no retaliation. Consider it insurance. That's not acceptable. Now she did turn and her smile was sharp. 3 days ago, nothing about humanity was acceptable to you. You've had to accept a lot of impossible things lately. What's one more? She left the assembly in chaos. Delegates arguing, shouting, some even fighting. But underneath it all was fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of humanity. On the Prometheus, Sarah's crew was monitoring communications across the galaxy. Every military channel was active. Every government was in emergency session. The entire galactic order had shifted in a single day. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen said, "Earth is calling." General Morrison appeared on the screen. He was smiling broadly. "Excellent work, Captain. The response is even better than we hoped." "They're terrified," Sarah said. "Good. Fear will keep them from attacking. Fear will buy us time." "Time for what?" The general's smile grew wider. "To build the second ship, of course. The Prometheus is just the beginning." Sarah felt a chill. "I thought one was enough. One is enough for now. But the galaxy is vast, Captain. There are threats beyond the Council species. Things in the dark between galaxies. We need to be ready." The communication ended. Sarah stood on her impossible bridge in her impossible ship and wondered what other impossibilities humanity was planning. Outside, the galaxy had stopped laughing at humanity's one ship. They were too busy being afraid of it. 3 days had passed since the Prometheus changed everything. The Galactic Council Assembly was fuller than it had ever been. Representatives from species that hadn't attended in decades were present. Everyone wanted to witness what would happen next. Ambassador Chen Wei stood at the podium, but this time she was not alone. Captain Sarah Reeves stood beside her, still in her simple black uniform. Behind them, a hologram showed the Prometheus floating in space, impossible and beautiful and terrifying. The assembly was silent. No one was laughing now. Supreme Admiral Korthak spoke first, his hologram flickering from the Zorathian homeworld. "We have discussed your terms. The Empire finds them acceptable." It had taken 3 days of arguments, threats, and negotiations within the Zorathian leadership to reach this point. Some had wanted to fight, to throw every ship they had at humanity. Others had pointed out the obvious. They had thrown 300 ships at one human vessel and lost. "We agree to respect human sovereignty," Korthax continued. Each word seemed to cause him physical pain. "We will not interfere with human colonies. We will trade fairly." "And?" Sarah prompted. The Admiral's forearms tensed. "And we apologize for our previous actions," the assembly gasped. A Zorathian apology was rarer than a supernova. It had happened perhaps twice in their entire recorded history. The Klaxian Queen stood next, her metal voice scraping through the hall. "The Hive Worlds also agree to these terms. We request one thing in return." "Go on," Chen Wei said. "Assurance that humanity will not use these weapons for conquest." Sarah stepped forward. "I'll do better than assurance. I'll give you proof." She touched a control on her wrist. The hologram changed. It showed the compressed spheres that had been Zorathian ships. "Computer, execute Release Protocol 7. The spheres began to expand, slowly at first, then faster. The compressed matter unfolded, and where there had been marbles, there were suddenly ships again. Damaged, powerless, but intact. Their crews were alive. "We could have kept them forever," Sarah said. "We could have destroyed them. We chose mercy. That is your proof." The Malari representative stood. "What about other human ships? You speak of one ship, but surely you will build more." "We will build what we need," Chen Wei answered. "No more, no less. We are not interested in armadas. We are interested in security." "How can we trust you?" This came from a species near the back, one of the smaller members of the council. Sarah smiled. "You can't, just as we couldn't trust you for 70 years. We were weak and you could have destroyed us at any time. Now the situation is reversed. You'll have to have faith as we did." The council president rustled its crystal branches. "There is another matter. Several species have reported strange readings from Earth's system. Construction signatures. Energy spikes. Are you building more weapons?" "We are building the future," Chen Wei said carefully. "The Prometheus proved that conventional thinking is a prison. We're exploring what else might be possible." "That's not an answer," the president noted. "It's the only answer you'll get." The tension in the hall was thick. Several delegates started to protest, but Sarah raised her hand again. "Let me tell you about humans," she said. We are a young species. When you were traveling the stars, we were still figuring out fire. When you had vast empires, we were fighting with sticks. We are children compared to you." She paused, looking around the room. "But children learn fast. Children don't accept that things must be a certain way just because they've always been that way. You spent millennia perfecting conventional warfare. We spent 50 years asking why warfare had to be conventional at all." The hologram changed again. Now it showed Earth, small and blue and fragile. "We have one planet," Sarah continued. "You have hundreds. We have billions of people. You have trillions. By every measure, we are small, insignificant, easy to overlook. But we have something you lost long ago. We have desperation. We have the knowledge that we must be creative or die. We have the freedom that comes from having nothing to lose. So we built one ship, one impossible ship that breaks your understanding of physics. And now you're afraid. You should be. Not because we'll conquer you, but because we've shown you that everything you believed about the universe might be wrong." The Etherian ambassador pulsed softly. "What do you propose, Captain?" "A new age," Sarah said. "Not of human dominance, but of mutual respect. The galaxy is vast. There are threats beyond our borders that none of us understand. Things in dark space, anomalies that eat stars, signals from other galaxies that make no sense." She gestured to the assembly. "We've spent thousands of years fighting each other over resources that are essentially infinite. We've wasted genius on war instead of exploration. We've looked inward when we should be looking outward. Humanity offers a different path. We'll defend the weak as we wished someone had defended us. We'll explore the impossible, because we've proven the impossible is possible. We'll stand guard against the unknown threats while you continue your lives in peace." "In exchange for?" Korthax asked suspiciously. "Respect, trade, knowledge, the things we've always wanted and never received." The Vrex ambassador slithered forward. "And if we refuse? If we see you as a threat that must be eliminated?" Sarah's expression hardened. "Then you'll learn what else we've built. The Prometheus is our greeting card. It says we're here and we're not victims anymore. Would you like to see what our warning looks like?" The threat was clear. The assembly shifted uncomfortably. Chen Wei stepped forward, her diplomatic training taking over. "But why would anyone refuse? We're offering peace. We're offering protection. We're offering a future where the small species don't have to fear the large ones, where trade is fair, where exploration replaces exploitation." "You're offering to overturn the entire galactic order," someone shouted. "Yes," Chen Wei said simply, "because the current order is broken. The strong prey on the weak. The ancient suppress the young. Fear rules over hope. We're offering something better." The council president was quiet for a long moment. Its crystalline form caught the light as it processed everything. Finally it spoke. "The council will vote. All in favor of accepting humanity's proposal?" Hands, tentacles, appendages, and energy fields rose throughout the hall. First a few, then dozens, then hundreds. The smaller species voted first, seeing protection. The middle powers followed, seeing opportunity. Finally, reluctantly, the great powers voted yes, seeing no alternative. "The vote is unanimous," the president announced. "Humanity is recognized as a protective power within the Galactic Council. The Prometheus and any future human vessels will be granted free passage. Human colonies are under council protection." Chen Wei bowed slightly. "Thank you. We won't disappoint you." As the assembly began to disperse, Sarah received a private message on her communicator. It was from the Prometheus. "Captain, long-range sensors are picking up something. Unknown vessels approaching from intergalactic space. They're not from any known species." Sarah's blood ran cold. She had mentioned the threats from beyond as a hypothetical. She hadn't expected them to appear so soon. "How many?" She typed back. 17. "They're massive, Captain. Each one dwarfs a Zarathian battleship, and they're moving at speeds that shouldn't be possible." Sarah touched Chen Wei's arm. "Ambassador, we may have a problem." Before Chen could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Every screen in the assembly lit up with the same image. Ships emerging from the void between galaxies. They were black, angular, wrong in ways that made the Prometheus look normal by comparison. The council president's voice echoed through the station. "All species prepare for potential first contact. Unknown vessels entering council space." Sarah was already moving, heading for the Prometheus. Chen Wei followed. "Is this why you built the ship?" Chen asked as they ran. "We built it because we suspected," Sarah replied. "Humans have always looked at the dark and wondered what looks back. Now we know something does. They reached the docking bay. The Prometheus was already powering up, its impossible engines warming. "Captain," her crew reported as she entered the bridge. "The unknown vessels are transmitting. It's strange. Let me hear it." The sound that filled the bridge was like nothing they had ever heard. It was mathematics turned into music, physics given voice. It was beautiful and terrible. "It's a warning," the translator said. "They're saying this galaxy is under their protection now. They've been watching. They've seen the wars, the oppression, the waste. They're here to impose order." Sarah sat in her captain's chair. "Open a channel to all council species." When the channel was open, she spoke clearly. "This is Captain Reeves of the Prometheus. You wanted to know why humanity built this ship? You're about to find out. All vessels, stay back. Let us handle first contact." "You can't fight 17 of those things alone," Admiral Vex's voice came through. He had stayed near the station after his defeat. Sarah smiled grimly. 3 days ago you said we couldn't fight 300 Zorathian ships. We're good at doing things that can't be done." The Prometheus moved forward. One impossible ship facing 17 unknown ones. "Besides," Sarah added, "we're not alone." Space rippled again. Another ship appeared beside the Prometheus. It was similar but different, somehow even more impossible. "This is Captain Zhang of the UES Paradox," a new voice announced. "Humanity's second ship.